Welcome back to the Peace Offering Kitchen. Today we are going to make mashed potatoes. This is a beloved side dish because it goes with everything. Everybody loves them, and it is a great way to get the fat-soluble vitamins into your diet, that being butter and cream. And so this is a very simple recipe. We are going to start by peeling some potatoes. I like to use these yellow Yukon Gold potatoes, but you can make them out of any potato that you like. I just always recommend that when you are peeling potatoes, try to get bigger ones just to save yourself the hassle. There is nothing more annoying than having to peel a bunch of tiny little potatoes. All right, so I have my dish here that has cold water in it. We're going to start to peel these potatoes. So once you start peeling potatoes, they'll start to turn brown. But if you put them in cold water, this will stop that browning process. And so quite often when I feel like I don't have a lot of time to prep this because peeling can be tedious, I'll do it earlier in the day and leave my potatoes in the cold water, and they will stay almost all day without turning brown, which is wonderful. So you're going to cut these potatoes into small but similar sized chunks because you want all of the potatoes to cook at the same time. And so you don't want to have really big chunks and really small chunks. That's how you're going to end up with half mushy, half lumpy potatoes, and nobody likes lumpy mashed potatoes. So we are just going to get all of these potatoes peeled and chopped into this cold water. So the water does not have to be cold. If you are ready to start making this right away, you can pre-boil your water and just throw the potatoes directly into that. Mashed potatoes are my oldest daughter's favorite food. And when you ask her what I should make for dinner, she always says that she would like mashed potatoes with a side of mashed potatoes. So if you have children, this is sure to be a dish where they finish their meal. All right, then I'm just going to finish chopping up these in similar size cubes. When I'm cutting things, I always try to think about getting a flat side down as soon as possible. It's kind of dangerous to be cutting these rounded things that can move and you can cut your fingers. So the first thing I do is slice it in half and turn it on its flat side to minimize the opportunity for finger cutting. So for this recipe, I've done 7 medium-sized potatoes, I'll call it. But the great thing about mashed potatoes is you can make as little or as much as you want. You will just adjust the amount of butter and cream you add to it. So I'm going to get all of these potatoes in the water. Oops, got to run away. And you want to make sure that all of the potatoes are covered in water. And then we are going to salt this water. And you want this to be as salty as the ocean. And that is so the salt gets all the way to the center of the potato, and it's gonna just improve the flavor so much if the salt gets into the potatoes now during the cooking process. So I'm adding quite a bit of salt to that, remembering that all of this water will get drained away. All right, all that's left to do is to put it on the stove. This is set to a high heat. I definitely want this to boil. I'm just going to give it a quick stir to make sure that all the potato pieces are separated and that the salt is more incorporated into the water. Then I'm going to put the lid on. It'll take probably 10 minutes to come up to a boil, and then I'll cook it for another 8 minutes after that and test it with a fork to make sure the potatoes are soft before we whip them. These are looking done to me, so I'm going to use a fork to test and see if I can pierce through them easily. Nice. See how this just easily goes through and mashes? These potatoes are ready to mash. So I'm gonna take them over to the sink and strain the water off and then put it back into this container. So we want to start to whip these right away. See all this steam coming up? That's all the moisture leaving the potatoes, and we do not want them to dry out. So as quickly as possible, we want to get this butter in here. I'm using 4 tablespoons of butter. And then about, let's see, a half a cup of cream. And then my immersion blender has a whisk attachment, but you can use any blending that you want to use. But I recommend a whisk. It helps incorporate air. You could even do this by hand if you wanted to. So I'm going to get this in here and get it started. All right, this is looking done. You also want to make sure that you don't overmix it, just until it all comes together and starts to look fluffy. All right, now we're going to test it and make sure that we have enough salt. And it's perfect. All right, now let's serve this up.